Supper Teeny fam. Now in today's video, we're gonna be installing Boost Logic's breathing system kit, which is essentially a much better version of a catch can.
That's what I was thinking.
I mean, it kind of is.
Yeah.
Now the kit's gonna come with everything that you're gonna need in order to make this system work. So it's gonna come with this beautiful thing right here, which is your breathing system kit. I also opted to go with a much larger oil filter. I figured while I'm doing the oil change, I wanna go with a much bigger one because our GTR is just so beefy. It comes with this adapter here that you'll need. So pretty simple installation on this thing, but that's your main kit. The other thing you could do is opt for this recirculation kit, which is what I did. I also selected the option for titanium fitting, which, by the way, if you're using this video as an instructional video, there's something really important that you're gonna have to do before installing this kit. So, don't touch anything on your motor. Come over to your fridge, or freezer I should say, and put in these 2 titanium fittings and let them sit in there for several hours. We did it for 24 hours. Now, before you go on with any more of this video, do us a big favor. If you have not yet joined the Bertini fam, click that subscribe button and
Notification bell.
this way you can stay up to date on all of our future episodes. Without further ado, go ahead, roll the intro.
Why do you have to put it in the freezer?
Great question, Miguel. The reason you have to put it in the freezer is so that the metal shrinks a little bit. The reason why we need the metal to shrink a little bit is because we're going to be removing the factory ones out of the valve cover area, or valve cover, and replacing it with those. Except those need to be pressed in. In order to press them in, we want them to be as small as possible. If they were warm, they'd be expanded, like their normal size. But I'll show you that. So, first things first, we need to get the GTR on jack stands. Actually, no. Let's do everything on top first, then we'll go down to the bottom and do the oil change. Sound like a plan?
Yep.
Cool. So let's do that first. So first things first, because we're gonna need access. Damn, look at this engine bay though. Thing is so pretty, right? So beautiful. Look at all the titanium, titanium everywhere. That's so pretty. That really does pop. The camera does not do that justice. Anyways, back to what I was saying. We need to remove this intake manifold cover and then start top down. Now listen, I almost forgot to mention this. You are following us at your own risk. The reason why I say that, because we have no freaking idea what we're doing. Right, Miguel? That's right. Have no clue what we're doing. So you are following us at your own risk. If you blow up your tires, I don't know how you're gonna do that in this kind of installation, but if you do, that's because of you, not because of me. Maybe because of Miguel.
But what's the purpose of the kit?
Great question, bro Chacho. So the purpose of this kit, or any catch can kit, is to relieve crankcase pressure. And on boosted motors, that's something that is super beneficial. Now you wanna know what makes the Boost Logic kit the best kit? I'm glad you asked. The first reason is all the fastest GTRs have this kit on their GTR. The second reason is because the Boost Logic kit uses the oil filler neck opening versus touching the PCV valve system, or the PCV system. I just said PCV valve, PCV. V is for valve. You don't have to touch that factory system. So this one's just all around, it's just better. And it looks cooler, just looks so much cooler, so much nicer. It makes us look fast. You know, when somebody opens up the engine bay, they're gonna see it and be like, ooh, fast GTR. Make sense? Perfect, let's get it installed. All right, so first things first, when you're looking at the motor right here like that, and you're drooling over how pretty your engine bay looks and how beautiful this motor looks, now, the fitting that you are removing out of the valve cover is located right there, right here, this one over here. So valve cover right down there. That's the first fitting. Then the second fitting is right here. Now, on this Boost Logic, if you get this system installed at their shop, they'll go ahead, just to make life easier on themselves, we'll remove this AC line off of here. This way they can pop this off. I might unloose this clamp, but that's about it. And then we'll go ahead and use these vice grips right here to pry that thing right off the motor. Step one. Now, with this side off right here, first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna use one of these silicone caps right here, and we're gonna cap off the bottom inlet side down there. And of course, when we do this side, we're gonna repeat the same process of capping the bottom side off, but I'll show you. Now, we need to use this vice grip to latch on to this thing right here and get some leverage. Actually, I might wanna rotate it just a little bit. No, I'll go this way. And start at the very top, and we're gonna go and work it this way and this way until we work it all the way out of the valve cover. So just keep going back and forth until it's broken free and it's wiggled its way out of the valve cover. Oh, finally. Whew. So that's what that looks like. It's pretty deep in there. I don't know, how long were we shimmying the thing back and forth for, Miguel?
Solid almost 10 minutes maybe?
No, it couldn't have been that long. That's what it probably felt like. No, I would say it was probably more like 2 minutes of that constant like shimmying back and forth. But yeah, we were just doing that motion, that smooth motion, and I got out. Now, we need to get the new one in. Now, when installing the fitting from Boost Logic, the new one, onto the driver's side specifically, it's gonna be flush against the valve cover. When we do the passenger side though, it's only gonna go in about halfway. So keep that in mind. Don't worry if you started off with the passenger side and your new fitting is not going all the way in. It's not going to, it's gonna go in about halfway in. Make sure, by the way, that you're protecting the threads when you're installing the new one. I'll show you. Now those titanium fittings that we had put in the freezer yesterday, let's go ahead and get them out of the freezer, or at least one of them, and I'll show you how to protect the threads and get this installed. So first, oh God, this is cold. Holy moly. This thing is freaking freezing. Well, at least we know it's gonna be small, because that's what happens. When there's cold, ladies, things shrink in the cold. Actually, I should say gentlemen too, because I don't want to discriminate. Whatever you're into, you're into. We accept all people. Well, except Miguel's kind of people, I don't know. Now, we've protected our threads. Now, let's take our fitting and put it back into the same place where we removed the factory one out of, which is right here. Now, to give you guys a little tip on the passenger side, what you want to do is lean your vice grip up against the valve cover a little bit. Make sure there's no sharp end on your vice grip and put a little bit of pressure against it and then do your wiggle. Because if not, if you're just doing your wiggle back and forth, it ain't gonna come out. We've been doing it for like 20 minutes, nothing, until we did it against the valve cover, immediately started pushing it out. So do it, just be really careful here. Like we said before, we are not mechanics, we are trained dummies. So take this with a grain of salt. And just like that, passenger side is out. So we got a few tips and tricks for you guys. Let's start off with, you're gonna need a 2x4. Ain't no way around doing it. It's $2 at Lowe's. Sure, it's like $2 or $1.50 at Home Depot. Not expensive. 2x4 is what you're gonna need. The other thing you're gonna need is you're gonna need to move the intercooler piping or the charge piping out of the way. So you're gonna need to move it forward for this side. So it has to come this way when you're working on it, because you're gonna use this wall right here for leverage to crank this thing in there. And by the way, if you're wondering, yes, this is what the passenger side is supposed to look like. I'll go ahead and put some pictures here right now, this way you all can see what exactly it's supposed to look like in detail, because you might think it's not all the way in, but it is all the way in, or as in as it's gonna be. Now, let's move over here to the driver's side. Now, on the driver's side of things, it is supposed to sit flush against the valve cover as it is right now. I'll go ahead and put some pictures here as well, so you have that. You're also going to need to loosen the intercooler piping on this side as well in order to get to this. And you're gonna need to loosen the AC line as well in order to crank on this one and get this in. That's my tips and tricks for you. Don't say I never did anything for y'all. I just wanna say you get what you pay for, because this Boost Logic kit, this stuff is really, really freaking high quality parts. Look at these things, right? Doesn't that look nice, Miguel?
I think that's beautiful.
I think it's like art.
For real.
Well, you get what you pay for. All right, let's start setting these up. I'm gonna show you how these all work. So you're gonna get 3 hoses in the kit. If you have the recirculation kit, you're also gonna get another one of these braided hoses. But if you don't, worry about these 3. Don't even touch that recirculation kit just yet. This hose right here is gonna go to this one right here, okay? Right there. Then from these 2 long ones, you're gonna have one medium one and one really, really long one, right? The really, really long one is gonna go on this side right here, okay? This side, you're gonna have 2 bends. This bend, I forgot what angle this is called, but we're gonna call this a 90, I think, is gonna go to the back. this one is gonna go right here.
That's about like a 30.
Yeah, 30 or 20, maybe a 15 or a 10. I don't know what it is. That one's gonna go right there. Then this one, the shortest one. This one, it's gonna go right here with the other 90. Right here, the medium one. The 90 is gonna go to the front, right here. Now, this piece is gonna get connected to this piece by these two pieces right here, which I'm gonna show you how to set this up here in a second, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and loosely put these on, right? Loosely put these on, just so we roughly have it where we need to. So that's gonna be tightened down, obviously without a wrench. That's not, okay? Same thing with this side. I'm gonna go ahead and do the exact same thing on this one, and then same thing. Well, this one has a
90.
two 90s, yeah, so we're gonna leave these just like this, okay? Under here, you have this. This kit comes with like this drain, if you will, to drain out the stuff in here. But we have a recirculation kit. So, for those of you who don't have this kit, you can skip forward about maybe 30, 40 seconds and you'll get to the part where we're putting this bad boy in. But since we have a recirculation kit, we need to go ahead and fit this whole thing together. Now, for those of you who have a recirculation kit, you keep watching. Well, actually, all of you should keep watching the video. Just some of you should skip ahead maybe 20, 30 seconds. Or not, or just keep watching. So first off, let's go ahead and cut open these packages here. The orientation of this thing, the bigger side, this long side. So you got a little side, long side. This goes in down to here like this. This requires a little bit of Teflon tape though. So make sure you Teflon tape this thing up. Don't start leaking all over the place and then call up me or Boost Logic. Well, definitely don't call me. You call up Boost Logic if you want to. But don't be calling me up or calling them up and being like, oh, I think my thing is leaking all over the place. It's leaking. I don't know. I watched that dummy's video. It's your fault. You're listening to this dummy. Teflon it. Now, we need to install this oil filler neck piece. Now, first off, make sure you lubricate these O-rings with a little bit of oil. Not a lot. Just a little bit.
Tell them put a little bit of soy in it. Not a lot, just enough for me to taste it and go, oh boy.
Once you've lubricated your O-rings, there's a top and bottom to this. This has to go inside of that, like this. It should be a flat piece, okay, inside of it. Make sure you don't do a dumb move and mess this up. It's not like this, it won't fit. Make sure to install the O-ring on the bottom and on the top. Now on the banjo fitting for this, you're gonna have two sides. You're gonna have this longer side and you're gonna have the rounded off side. The side that goes into the filler neck is this longer side. So I got this fitting installed here, the banjo fitting. Miguel and myself are gonna get the GTR lifted up, remove the bottom tray. This way we can start the process of draining out all of the oil in the system. And the reason we're gonna do that right now in this phase is because we're gonna have to remove this dipstick tube because that's where the return line goes into. And so I'm gonna need to get under the vehicle, I should say the GTR, in order to do that. Because there's a bolt here and then there's a clip down there that's holding this line in. And then I've gotta pull this thing up and put the new one in. So let's go ahead and get the GTR lifted and get that removed. All right, so quick change of plans. I realized I can actually pull out this dipstick tube from the top down here. I know it's gonna be real difficult for you guys to see down there, but there's like a little hole that this thing is, or not little actually, it's a really big hole that this thing is sticking into. I'm just gonna go ahead and pop this off and pop that out. The reason why that's gonna save us a whole lot of time is this way when we're doing the oil change itself, we won't have to remove this as well, this side of the cover. We don't have to remove the front lip and the cover on the front. We'll just have to remove the middle cover, which is a lot easier than this one. So that just saved us a whole lot of time, Miguel. All right, so with a little bit of wiggle, we got the factory one off. As you can see, comparatively to the Boost Logic one, the Boost Logic one is just significantly nicer than that of the factory one. I mean, the factory one's dirty, but the Boost Logic one is just nicer in general. Looks so much cleaner. Cooler looking, right, Miguel?
Definitely.
So we got into a little bit of a pickle. Let me show you. If you can see that red tab down there, that is the thread cover for the new dipstick holder thingamabobber slash return line, right? It's hitting on the serpentine belt. That's the only thing that's keeping it from going in. So what I'm gonna go ahead and do is we're gonna take off that serpentine belt. And how we're gonna do that is you're gonna use a 3/8 ratchet or a breaker bar, pull that back, put something in these two holes to hold the tension off, get that serpentine belt off of there, and then we'll be able to get that thing fed down in properly. With the serpentine belt off, made it super, super easy, and all we had to do was remove the bottom portion right there. We didn't even have to go through the whole shebang. Now, we got this piece clipped in here. We'll go ahead and get this screwed right back in, and we'll be good to go. And remember, don't do that too hard because you don't want to strip it out. Ew, that has dirty on it. So dirty. And if you're like me and you disconnected the sensor, make sure to go ahead and plug that one right back in so that things work, because we don't want things not working. I'm just kidding. You're not gonna need no mallet. Get out of here. Listen, just to show you what the final thing looks like, that is how it should be situated down there. So that is what it's gonna look like. Hopefully you'll appreciate this shot because I'm putting my big ol' hands in very little space. What do you think, how it turned out?
I think it turned out really good. It
looks good, right?
Yeah, it was way easier to get on than I thought it would be too.
I feel like now we're just gonna go and have to buy a brand new belt just because of how easy it is to replace the belt.
Yeah.
Might as well. All right, now let's get these lines in. All right, now I know we showed you earlier how this line needs to be, but I'm gonna give you the actual specifics now. This should be pretty damn self-explanatory, and if it isn't, you shouldn't be touching your GTR. Just kidding, make sure you like this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel. This end, so actually I'm gonna show you from this angle. This is the angle in which it needs to go to the motor. So from here, that goes to the return line, then this, I don't know why I said motor, to the tank. So here on the tank is this way, right? This goes into the tank like this goes into that return thingamabobber with the dipstick in it. All right, that's the orientation. Make sure before you put this on that you tighten this down, this down, okay? And this down. That's it. That'll be all, folks. Let's go ahead and get this installed. Now we're gonna start on the right side of the motor, so the driver's side of the motor. You want your longest steel braided line. This, the one with the 90 on it, is gonna go over to this side, right over here, okay? This one is gonna go, so make pretend this is already on here. This one is gonna be turned around towards this and do this kind of number right here. All right, so 90 in, up-de-do. That's it, super easy, people. On the passenger side of the motor, the one that goes to the valve cover is this teeny beeny, tiny little black one. This one goes right here. Now, if you notice, there's two 90s on this one. Hopefully I'm calling this correctly. I believe this is 90, right, Miguel?
I think so.
Right, it kind of looks 90 degrees. Hopefully it's a 90. If not, you can call me a dummy in the comment section. Even if it is, you can call me a dummy in the comment section. All right, now let's go ahead and just get this one all screwed on here. And finally, you're gonna be left with one single line left. The 90 is gonna go to the front of this tank, and this one right here, this, maybe that's like a 45 angle, that's gonna go right under here. So that to this, and then this to this, like that, okay? Now we're ready for our tank. Let's just go ahead and tighten this one up. You excited for the grand finale, Miguel?
So excited.
I mean, we still gotta do our oil change and put in that new big ass filter.
Yeah.
With the Boost Logic adapter. That billet piece looks beautiful. But let's go ahead and get this done. Now that we made it to the fun part, let me show you where you're gonna need to relocate your grounding wire to so that you can install this can. It comes with a screw provided by Boost Logic, and that is gonna mount this can right up over here. As you can see here though, I have a pretty nice titanium one, so we're gonna reuse this one personally, but this is where you are now going to put your grounding cable, is right here attached to this bracket right here. When installing the can, this should be a no-brainer, but start with the bottom one because it's probably going to be the easiest one for you to connect. Okay, so get it all nice and fit up in there, and then just start tightening things down. All right, now for the fun part. Now we gotta install this beautiful billet piece of aluminum on as our oil filter adapter for this Wix racing filter. By the way, part number is 51060R. This is gonna be pretty simple. We're gonna put a little bit of oil in this filter. We're gonna lubricate this ring with some of that oil. We're gonna screw it on here, and then we're gonna screw this whole assembly back onto the motor. That's it, super easy. So let's go ahead and do that, and then we're gonna fill this GTR back up with some oil. Now remember, when you take out this oil plug, you cannot reuse this crush washer. This is not meant to be reused. This is meant to be replaced every single time you do an oil change. So you gotta get a new one and put it on there. Now the part number for the crush washer is 11026-JA008, and of course I'll include links and the part number in the description box below. And then in case you're wondering which side goes where, because there's two sides to this, the wider portion of it is the portion that is down, facing right here, okay? So the wide portion faces this. Also, you're gonna wanna torque this down to 25 foot-pounds. And the motor oil we're gonna be refilling the GTR today with is the DT40. It is a 5W40 blend. This is the oil that's recommended from Boost Logic, so this is the oil that we're gonna use. By the way, these race ramps have been a real nice to have. Don't forget, if you're interested in picking those up, use code BERTINI in the discount code section, raceramps.com. Now it might be a little dark under here, but it is a pretty tight fit in case you're wondering with the filter. I think in the future, I might trim that bracket back there just a little bit. I mean, you don't really need to, but as you can see, it's ripped off some of the paint on that can. But yeah, it came out good. Now, let's go put some oil in this thing. Fresh oil. Yummy in my tummy. This oil is inappropriate. Inappropriate oil, Miguel. Inappropriate oil.
Outrageous. Doesn't know more family friendly.
All right, your GTR takes 5 1/4 quarts of oil. Fill her up. Now when you got everything buttoned back up, all we need to do is check our oil. I'm gonna start by first doing it when it's cold. Then we'll start it up. We'll let the GTR run for a little bit. Check it when it's hot. Make sure everything is in good running order. Don't forget to reset your last service oil change in the car settings and set whatever reminder that you put, whether if you change your oil every 2,000 miles, 2,500, 3,000 miles, 5,000 miles if you're a thug, whatever. Just set the right reminder that you prefer. What do you think about the installation?
It was definitely time consuming, but it was cool. It was a cool project.
Yeah, I feel like had we known what all we needed to do this project and we weren't like started from scratch pretty much, it would have went a lot quicker than it did. And we could have replaced the belt while we were at it.
That's true.
Well, another project, another video. On that note, if you enjoyed this video or you found it useful or entertaining, do us a favor, click that like button, really helps us out. And if you have not yet joined the Bertini fam, go ahead, click that subscribe button and the notification bell. This way you can stay up to date on all of our future episodes. Thanks, bro chachos. And if you're interested in purchasing anything that we installed in this video, check out the links in the description box below. We'll have links to everything. On that note,
make sure you're putting good energy out into the world and paying it forward. We'll check y'all out later.
Bye now.